Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in on time. We will be starting very soon. Just waiting for a few more people to join in. It's actually good to see so many people joining in and looking forward for even more people to join in. It'll be good if we have more members joining in, asking questions, interacting, and so on and so forth, so that the community becomes even more engaging, thereby making the entire what I say community value driven, right? So looking forward for that. Another 5 to 7 minutes, we'll get started. Thank you once again. Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Sam, Hemant, Vivek. Nice to see you all. I think Vivek is joining after a couple of sessions. I'm not sure. I don't recall him joining last couple of sessions, but good to see you here. Let's wait for a couple of more minutes and then we can get started. But until everyone else joins, hi Manoj, good evening. Yeah, so until everyone else joins or a few more minutes, before we get started, I would love to hear from you. How many of you have been able to practice what we have done? Are you able to follow up what we are doing? And how is the sessions going on so far? Uh, Good that we have a lot more people joining in today, and it really, what to say, makes us feel happy that we reached out to almost everybody individually. I mean, I reached out to all of you, and most of you responded back with positivity, and that's really nice. Thank you so much for joining in, and would love to hear, like, are you able to practice? Like, what's happening? Hey Aditya. Who is Greenwald? If you could like just type in your name, maybe I'll remember and recall it. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, Abu Bakar. Thank you for joining in. I did practice. I feel data linking is very crucial in developing. Oh yeah, most definitely, right? Because am I stuck? No, right? Yeah. So you cannot be adding all the data fields in the same data table. Okay, that will make it uh, like that will make the app full of clutter, right? You do not want to be doing that. Plus, considering that Bubble uh, uses something called workload units, which we will be talking about very soon. You do not want to be adding all the data in the same data table. So linking data becomes very, very crucial. And that's why we spent two full sessions just to understand that, right? And we'll have a lot of Q&A sessions happening very often so that you can get clarity, you can ask questions and so on and so forth. And like I kept telling, please join Q&A sessions even if you don't have questions, because somebody else's questions, right, can give you a lot of insights. Plus somebody else's question can trigger some other question from your side, which will also help others. So join in the sessions. I understand that we are asking too much from your side, like 2 hours every alternative days, and then we are also asking you to join the Q&A sessions or bubble roundtable or something like that. But trust me, this is going to help you in the long run, right? And it's not just bubble that we are doing, right? Very soon we'll also be covering some parts of AI and stuff like that. And I hope all of you would agree with me that in the near future, right, everything will be AI driven. And if we do not adopt AI, then we don't know how things will be, right? So that's why let's spend this 2 hours every alternative days to ensure that we learn, build, and grow together. Yeah. And I've been practicing every day, Sam. That's really nice. Please keep sharing it in the community so that you can inspire others. Uh, I know that a few of you have been sharing it in the community, and there are a few others who are getting inspired by that. So more of you can do it so that we'll have more people inspired, and they will also join in to share their journey. Thank you for that, Aditya. That was me from another. Oh yeah, thank you, Aditya. Bubble is very good tool. Yeah, that's true. Is it possible to get a job after doing? So Vivek, yes, definitely, most definitely. I mean, that all depends on how well you practice, how well you keep sharing it. Okay, because we ourselves want to hire a couple of, I mean, some 3 or 4 people. Plus, there are a few agencies, there are a few clients who wants to hire Bubble developers who are trained. But we will have to be sure that you are fully what I say ready with all the concepts that is required, because we will not be able to recommend somebody who has just done a few sessions or some practice here and there, right? So we will need people who are fully what I say ready with all the concepts that we teach, okay, which will enable you to build uh, medium to slightly complex applications or maintain the application that has already been developed. So your commitment is very, very crucial if you are looking for job opportunities or internships or freelancing opportunities, right? So please be aware of that and keep sharing your journey so that we know that you have understood the concept and you have been practicing it, so that you'll be on the top of our list of recommendations. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that's a fair expectation. Um, okay, then let's get started. Welcome everyone again, and thank you. all of you for joining in on time. And today's topic is going to be privacy rules and best practices, right? So, let me first explain what are privacy rules. Okay. So, when you build any application, you want to ensure that each user who is using the application is only able to see the data that they are supposed to see, right? Let's say, for example, we build a project management application. I know that I keep taking reference of project management because that's not a simple application. It's a very complex thing if you want to build a full-fledged project management application. And that has almost all the scenarios covered. And that's why I keep talking about that, right? So if you're building a project management application, a SaaS platform where multiple companies will what to say register on the portal, and they will create their clients, they will create projects, they will link the projects to clients, and so on and so forth. Now, if I am a company who have registered on the project management application that you have built, and let's say there is person B who is registering on the portal to handle their projects, I should not be seeing the projects or clients that person B has created, and person B should not be seeing the projects or clients or invoices or whatever I generate, right? Because that is what I say. I mean, we should not be able to see each other's data. I should be able to see all the records that I create. Person B should be able to see all the records that he or she creates, right? And that needs to be taken care of using privacy rules. Now, you might say that we can add a filter, right? We can add a filter to ensure that my data is shown to me and his or her data is being shown to them. Okay, that is not ideally the best case. Okay, we need to add the privacy rules where even if the filter is not applied, okay, the data which comes from server to the browser, okay, uses the filter based on the privacy rules that we have. We will quickly be looking into that. Okay, so you will understand what I mean by that. And we'll also cover some of the best practices when it comes to workload units, because Bubble considers workload units as a measurement of how much of server capacity you are using from Bubble. Okay, so are we all ready to get started? Please type in ready in the chat box and let's get started. Hello, hello, hello. Are we ready? Can we get started? Okay. I see some new names today in the response. That's good. Nice to see you all. Thank you for joining in. Okay. So I'm going to create a new page called privacy or privacy exploration. By the way, I hope you all received a message that we sent in the group with the link to this particular application, right? So if you're stuck at any given point of time, you can come back to the application and see what we have done and try to replicate that. Okay. So on this particular page, I'm going to add a text, privacy exploration. By the way, firstly, I'm going to change this to column. And let me also add a group, which is called group main. And let me add padding of 20, 20, 20, and 20. For those of you who have not joined regularly and you might get confused as to what I'm doing and why I'm going so fast, Do not worry about it. Watch the previous recordings and you will get a hang of it. Whatever is the topic for today, I'll go slowly. I'll repeat it n number of times so that you can get a hang of what we are doing. Okay. So I'll just remove this and I'll just make this as 3 or whatever it is. Okay. Now I'm going to add a repeating group. You have understood what a repeating group is. So I'll add some row spaces. I'll go to repeating group. I'll remove this so that it expands for the entire width of the parent group, and we will do it for users. Okay, so I'm doing it for users. I'll show you why and like how does this help us understanding the privacy. So I'm going to do a search for users. I'm not going to add any constraints, and I'll remove this and make this as 35. Okay, and now we can add another group within this one. We have been doing the same similar thing all throughout. Just give me a minute. My camera acts a bit weird sometimes. Okay, so this will be group each user, and this will also be of type user. Data source will be current cells user. Let's add a couple of things like the email of the user, right, which is parent groups users, email, and maybe we'll also add user's name, right? We don't need it to be a column layout. We'll make it as row layout, and we will also add space of 20. Okay, and this could be gbc.com just as a canvas placeholder, and this could be page head. Let's bring it to vertically central line, and I'll also add a created date. I'll tell you why. So created date formatted as, let's say, Feb 19, 2025. So this will be Feb 19, 2025. So whatever I add over here, canvas placeholder, is just for it to reflect over here. Okay, if I don't put this, then it will be like parent groups user, something like this, right? So I don't want it to be taking so much space. I want it to actually take the space that it is meant to take, right? So I'll give a example of how it will look like. Now I'll click on preview. Okay, so it's all over the place. It's not in a tabular form. So let me go ahead and make this as a fixed width. So let's make it as 200 fixed. Okay, or maybe 240 because email sometimes can be bigger. And this can be 200. I hope all the names in our database will fit in within 200. And this can be 75 or so. No, not sufficient. Let's say 100. Okay, so let's just refresh this. We can hopefully see. Yeah, so you can see that it's all coming in. Some of the emails are not fitting in within 240 as well. So let's make it as 280. Okay. So you can see that it's all coming in neatly in columns. Now, I'm not sure if I'm logged in. Let me just add a text to see if I'm logged in. So current user is logged in. It will give us a yes or no. Let's check what is the response from the system, right? So it's not showing us anything, which means I am logged out. So we will test that with is logged out. Yeah. So you can see that it is showing as yes for is logged out. Okay, which means right now this particular user, okay, whom I as a user on this particular browser is logged out. Okay, but because I've not added any privacy rules, right, it's publicly visible. Therefore, all the data is being exposed to everybody. Now, I'm going to add the first privacy rule and let me call it as logged in users, right? So rule name can be anything. It's just for our understanding, right? I'm going to create this. Now it is asking us what is the condition that you want to apply in this particular privacy rule. And all we are going to say is current user is logged in. Okay, this is the first privacy rule that I'm applying here. And the condition is current user is logged in. Please note, we also have an option of this user, but I'm using current user, right? Current user here refers to the user who is using the browser, right? So in this case, it is me who is using this particular browser. And if I am logged in, the condition is current user is logged in. Then we have view all fields, find this in searches, view attached files. Okay, allow auto binding. We have not gone to auto binding, so let's ignore this for now. And let me just refresh this. Closely observe. I didn't change anything. I didn't change what is being displayed here, right? Do a search for is there without any constraint. Okay, all the data is as it was before. The only thing that I changed was privacy rules. I added a new privacy rule where I mentioned that if the user needs to be able to see the data, then they should be logged in, right? Everyone else would mean that the users who do not match any of the privacy rules added above, okay, would be everyone else. Just in case, if I click on view all fields, okay, and find in searches, then this will again start showing up, right? All the three columns. Closely observe. I will uncheck this. I will check the name and let's say created date. I've not enabled email. I've enabled the name and created date. Let's refresh this. I, as a user right now, fall under the category of everyone else because there is just one privacy rule that we have applied, and that is current user is logged in. Because I'm not logged in at the moment, okay, I fall under the category of everyone else. And we have enabled the created date and the name to be displayed for everyone else, not the email. And that's why the email is not coming in, but the name and the created date is coming in. Are we clear so far? Are you able to understand this? Privacy rules is very, very simple if you understand the logic. Okay. And that's why I'm going very, very slowly. Okay. But one thing to keep in mind is privacy rules, though it is so much important to be applied on every project, almost every data type that we have, unless and until you want the data to be accessible to everybody, right? But a lot of people, even senior developers, miss to add privacy rules, which is very crucial, right? I've seen applications which were in the medical field without privacy rules. That should ideally never happen, right? Because all your data is exposed to everybody. But yeah, and that's why I'm stressing so much on the privacy rules, right? So I hope you have understood what is logged in users. I mean, the first privacy rule that we have applied, and then what is it? Everyone else. What does this mean, right? Now, I'll I'll keep it as is. I'll add one more privacy rule where I'll tell this will be admins. Let's say, right? So current users. Okay, we don't have an admin yet. So what I'm going to do quickly is I'm going to user and I'm going to create a admin field, right? Which will be a yes or no field. Okay, I'm quickly going to add a couple of users as admins. Okay, one would be obviously abc.7.com and maybe abcd. I have a account support.7.com. Yeah, so I'll add this also as an admin. Okay, so just to recap what I just did, I added a field in the user data table with admin, and the field type is yes or no. Okay, and for a couple of users, I've given admin access. Right, one of that is support.red7.com, and the second one is abcd@red7.com. Now I'm going back to the privacy, and for admins, current users admin is yes. Okay, so again, what this means is the current user who has logged in into the portal, okay, whoever is using the portal right now on the browser, on this particular browser, if you are using the portal on your browser, then you will become the current user of that particular session, right? So I'm telling current user admin is yes, then view all fields. If the user is logged in, then maybe I'll just show, let's say, email and created date. Okay, so I'm creating I'm trying to create different scenarios where I want to show, even without adding any filters, even without the conditions changing on the front end, right? The data that is being displayed for the users changes just because privacy rules is applied. Okay, so we have three different scenarios now. One is the admin, where we are telling that we are displaying everything, like view all fields. Whatever is being displayed on the front end, the admin should be able to see that. Okay. The next one is current user is logged in. For these users, we are going to show the email and the created date. Okay. The last one is everyone else, where we display the name and the created date. Okay. So let's try this. Now, presently I'm logged out, so I am still everyone else category. I'll now log in as any other user, let's say Anirban. And because I fall under the category of logged in user, okay, without admin access, the privacy rules that will apply to me now is logged in user. And so I should be able to see the email ID and the created date, not the name. Oh, wait. Email and created date. Name should not be shown, but it's showing. Let me quickly check why. So it shows no, which means I am logged in. Current user's admin is yes. All of this should be shown. This user does not have admin, right? Whom did I log in as? Strange, just give me a minute. Right now I'm logging in as admin. This is for then. Sorry, you are out. And then admin. So the current users admin. Ideally, no, it should not take that way. Okay, because we have specified. Oh, yeah. Right now I'm logged in as admin. So that is okay. Let me try logging in as any other user. So I've specifically mentioned that the admin should be yes. So it should only work. Am I missing something here? View all fields is not. Oh, so yeah, what has happened is this condition is true. Okay, and from this, we have got the email and a created date. And from this condition, the name is anyways visible. Yeah. So I'll disable the name from here and it should ideally not be showing here. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Sorry for the confusion. Let me repeat what happened. Okay. Because everyone else has access to name. Okay. Which means name is actually visible to everybody, right? This was checked before. Name and created date was checked before. And because of this, name is visible to everybody, right? And logged in user had access to email ID and created it. And that's why even if it was not an admin, okay, this particular user had access to email, created it, and name. Okay, so I have just removed this. And now we can see that when the admin is not, I mean, a non-admin is logged in, they'll be able to see the email address and the created date. Is this clear, everyone? I hope I didn't confuse you. Did you understand why it was showing the name before and why it is not showing now? Yeah. Ideally, it has nothing to do with this yes or no. Can remove this and it should still work because unless and until we specifically mention it as yes, it will not be considered as yes. Right? You can see that. So this is blank now, but it is still not showing admin. Okay. So just to give you clarity, whatever is there for everyone else will be visible to everybody. Okay. And for these users, like someone who is logged in or someone who has admin access, they'll be able to have this access anyways. Okay. The idea is everyone else would probably have the least priority. Okay. But if you have set few of the fields for everyone else and a few others for any of the privacy rules here, then the person who is logged in, okay, in this case, current user is logged in, this particular condition, the users who fall under this category will have access to this and this. Okay. Got it, everyone? Now, let's go to post like or post comment. Okay. Assuming, see, now what we have built is a social media application, and ideally we want everybody to be able to see who has liked it, who has commented, what is the comment, and all of that. Okay. But to understand the privacy rules better, okay, what we will do is we will display only the comments that I have added, okay, to me, and the comments that you people have added to you. Okay, because this has the linking of the user. So what we saw here was just the first level. Like current user's admin is yes, current user is logged in, and the third condition. Okay. But what happens when we are going to other data types? Okay, let's see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the same fitting group over here. But this time this will not be user, this will be like post comment. And we are going to do a search for post comment. No constraints added this time as well, right? I'm going to this one, I'm going to make this as post comment and current cells post comment. Now this one will be current parent groups post comments, creators email. This will be parent group post comments, comment text, like whatever is the comment. And this will be like whenever it was created. Okay. This one we may need it to be larger. So I'll just expand this up. I'll remove it with to content as well. So it expands all. Now I'm going to the data for post comment, right? We are going to add privacy rules. Like I mentioned, the privacy rules that we are going to add for now, let's begin with logged in user, logged in users. Okay. So current user is logged in, then they should be able to see everything. And for somebody who is not logged in should not be able to see anything, right? So let me first check for this one. I'll hide the user data table because we have already seen that. I'm going to hide this for now, right? So the element is visible on page load is unchecked. So we will have the post comments being shown. So we can see all the comments that has been added, okay? And who is the user who have added it. For this particular user and here, we are not seeing anybody's email ID because those are the comments which was added by people who were not logged in. For example, here you can see there was no post comment and there is no user. Likewise, this one, right? There was no user, or rather that particular user was deleted. I don't think we have deleted any user. But yeah, this was from the user who are not logged in, these two. And that's why we don't have those being shown here. But we can see all the comments, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we have 7 records here. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Now I'm going to change the condition over here where I will tell this post comment. Now closely observe, this post comment would refer to each of the post comment that we have here. This post comment creator is current user. Then show this. I'll firstly go over here and display to you what I'm seeing. I'm not able to see anything because there is no comment that has been added by particular user. I'll also add one more current user's email that we know who has been logged in. So you can see that I am logged in as Anirban and Anirban has not added any posts. Let me log in as abcd@7.com and you can see a couple of posts that I had added. Post comments basically. You can see the user. Okay, you can see the comments that I had added and when was this added. Okay, I'll go to post comments. I will go to Aditya, let's say. So I'll go to users and search for this particular user and run as. Now I'll be able to see only one comment that was added by Aditya. Right? So I'll go here, I'll log in, I'll try to log in as some other user, let's say Hemant. Hemant has added 2 comments. So let me log in as Hemant and we will be able to see those 2 comments being shown. Right? Trial post is amazing. Yes, absolutely. Now let's try to understand what did we add here. This post comments creator is current user. Okay. Again, this refers to every single record that we have in the post comment. Right? All of this. So this particular condition will be applied to every single record here and then it will be sent out to the browser. So it will check for the first one. This post comment creator, right? If it's current user or not. Current user, as we can see, is Hemant Pujari in this case, right? So here, the condition that we have added in privacy rules will match. This post comments creator is current user. That is true. So this will be sent. This will not be true. This will not be true. This will not be true. This will again be true. So this will also be sent on the front end. This will not be true. This will not be true. Right? And that's how we get the privacy rules applied for one data to another connection. So this post comments creator is current user. Okay. Now we can only apply privacy rules with 2 levels of connection. The first level connection, the second level. In this case, it is this post comment is the first level. Creator is the second level because creator is basically the user. Right? So this works. Let me show you something. I'll add one more. This is third level. And I'll use this post comments linked post creator. Okay, he is current user. So when I go to the third level, this post comment is the first level, linked post is the second level, creator is the third level. So we are linking the data to another data type, right? So when there is 3 levels of connections, you can see that it shows rules that use this post comments X is Y. X in this case is linked post and Y is creator. Okay. Can't grant search access right now, which means find this in search is there, right? That will not be visible. Okay, that cannot be used. And that's why you cannot use 3 levels of what do you say connections. So I'll delete this. But I hope you understood what is the difference between the first level, where we are directly talking about current user admin is yes, current user is logged in, right? Or this user and so on and so forth. Okay. And post comment, where we are talking about this post comments creator, which is 2 levels. Are we clear on this, everyone? Are we clear? Hello, hello, hello. Are we good with whatever we have covered so far? Can we move on to the next topic? Okay, thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. Right now, considering what we have understood with privacy rules and considering how Bubble calculates the workload units, okay, let's understand how do we structure the data, right? Before that, I would like to explain what are workload units and why do we have to structure the data in a particular way to ensure that the app is optimized for workload units. Okay. So if you go to logs, then we can see something called app metrics. And this particular app, we have used about 1001 workload units so far, right? And this is from January 21st to February 20th. Okay. Basically, the last 1 month, we have used just 1001 workload units, right? Yes, Aditya, that's right. People who have not written a comment won't be able to see it. Like, in fact, if you have not, like, even if I have written the comment, I'll be able to see only my comment, right? Which is not the usual case in social media application. But I wanted to show you this because you understand the privacy rules concept. Okay, nothing else. Now, coming back to workload units. Okay. This particular app has used 1001 workload units so far. Now, this is very small. Considering what is the workload units that we get in the app plan that we are in right now, which is free plan. I think, yeah, we get 50K workload units. Okay. So we get 50K workload units, out of which we have used, 825, it says here, but here it shows 1001. Okay. Whatever is, oh yeah. The reason why it shows 825 here is because this is on a monthly basis, calendar month, Feb 1 to Feb 28, right? While in the logs, what we see is one full month. So today is Feb 20th, Feb 19th actually, right? So it shows Jan 21st to Feb 20th for whatever reason. Okay, and that's why it is 1001. Now, what exactly is workload units? Workload units is a measure which Bubble uses to understand how much of Bubble's server is each app consuming. Okay. To put it in other words, you have data usage from your mobile SIM card provider, right? You get, let's say, 2 GB of data every day, right? How much of internet are you consuming from that particular provider? Okay. You have broadband connection. So when you use internet, when you have joined this particular session today, okay, you are consuming internet from your broadband provider. Okay. So they tell you how much of GB are you consuming every month, right? I think now almost everybody in India provides you with unlimited data, but you can know how much GB are you consuming, right? So, like we have GB for internet consumption, workload units is the consumption metrics for Bubble server usage. Okay, how much of Bubble server are you consuming, right? And for that they charge you. Okay, for every plan that we have in the Bubbles, every plan that we have in Bubble, we have a different workload unit. So free plan gives us 50K, 50,000 workload units per month. Starter plan gives us 175K workload units. Growth plan gives us 250K workload units. Team plan gives us 500K workload units, and enterprise has its own calculation for it. Now, not just this, you might say that, oh, but what is the point of paying like almost $100 more? Okay, or rather, four times more. Okay, just to get 75K more workload units. Right? You see that $32 per month gives you 175K, whereas almost four times the cost of this, $134, will just give you 250K. Right? And that's because you have two app editors, you have premium version controls, two-factor authentication, and 10 custom branches, and so on and so forth. Okay. What if you want more workload units? So, like you get your internet data recharges, where you can recharge for certain amount to get instead of 2 GB per day, you can get 4 GB per day, right? Or there is one of internet packs where you can get like 20 GB extra. I'm not sure if that is still valid today, but back in the days we had data packs, right? Where you could recharge for like 50 rupees, get 1 GB data free, and so on and so forth. Okay. Like that, we have that's available if we are in the paid plan. So let me just go to it. No, not even the agency plan. So if we are in the paid plan, we will get the ability to increase the workload units. Okay, we will cover that whenever we go there. Okay, so we can see it over here, I guess. Let's see here. Okay, this is app plan. Let's check if we have here. Yeah, so this is still in the app plan. Yeah, so we'll cover that whenever we go to the paid plans and all of that. Okay, just understand that workload units is a measure of how much server capacity of Bubble is your app consuming. Okay, right now, because we don't have anything added onto this application and we are using it only to understand how to build apps, and there is no live users on this application. It's just 1001 workload units consumed so far. But trust me, if your data structure is not done properly, you will be consuming millions of workload units. And that can cost you like $500 every month, $700 every month, thousands of dollars every month. Okay. And that's why I want to bring to your notice as to what should be the data structure, okay, that we have to follow to ensure that workload unit consumption is minimal. Okay. So your app is optimized for workload unit consumption. Now, one of the things that consume data, that consume workload units, is the data that you are fetching from server to the browser. What I mean by that? So let me just go to the user data table. I'll enable this. I'll log in as an admin. I'll log in as an admin now so that all the users' data will be loaded. I'm not sure what is the frequency bubble updates the workload units, but I have loaded all of this data now. Let's see if this has got changed. Maybe not. It's 53 for today. Let me load. It takes some time. It's not real time. But let's try our luck. Yes, Aditya, that's right. Better data structure makes the app faster. Okay, so it's not real time. We're still able to see 53. But if you see this after a while, okay, this would have got changed to, let's say, 60 or 62 or whatever it is. Every time I refresh the page, because I am fetching the data from server to browser, it will consume workload units, right? Just refreshing the page, every time I load the page, every time I log in into the portal, whatever data we are getting from server to browser will consume workload units. Okay. Just like the internet usage. Every time you go to, YouTube and watch a video, you are consuming some GB, even though it is repeated. Right. So likewise, the same thing holds good here as well. And in Bubble, it's not just what you are displaying on the front end will consume workload units. Any data that you've added in a particular data type. Okay. For example, now we are displaying just the, email ID, the name, and the created date. But there is admin, there is city, there is gender. Okay. There is also profile pic, which is not being displayed on the front end. But if the privacy policy allows us to read that data, Bubble will send that data to the front end. I'll show you that. Okay, so we are just displaying 3. If I go to inspect and I'll go to this particular user, or rather this one, right? You can see that I can see city is empty. I can see the profile pic. I can see the modified date. I can see the email ID. I can see the unique ID, right? All the details that is available for that particular user will be put up on the browser, just that it is not being displayed on the front end. And each of this data is consuming workload units for us. Every single data that we are getting from server to browser. Right? Workload units is for every app. Okay, based on your app plan, workload units will be allotted and your app needs to be within that workload units capacity. Or you have to upgrade, you have to, recharge for additional workload units and so on and so forth. Okay. So how do we ensure that the app is optimized so that we are not consuming too much workload units? For this, we have to understand something called structured data and unstructured data, right? All the details that we have here is basically structured data. Okay. Admin is just a yes or no. It cannot be anything more than that. City, okay, can be a few characters long, right? Like Hubli, Bangalore, Chennai, Amsterdam, right? Uh, any city that you can consider will be a few characters long. So that's fine. Gender in this case is one of the options, like male, female, do not prefer to specify, right? Nothing much. Name can also be like 20, 30, 40 characters long. Sometimes some huge name can be like 50, 60 characters long, nothing more, right? Profile picture is an image. think about something like bio. Okay. In social media applications, we have something called bio, right? So if we go here, I'm not sure if we have added the bio for this particular profile, but when I click on view profile, okay, is when the bio comes in, which I think we have not added. Okay. You do not want to be adding a field like bio into the data types, which will be loaded every time. So right now, in this particular application, we have about 26 users. Okay. And we are displaying that particular user details in this particular table, right? And when admin logs in, there are 26 users details coming in on the front end. Okay. Though we are displaying just 3 fields, there are like 8 to 10 fields data which is coming in on the browser, just that we are not displaying. You can see here admin yes or no is coming in. City, if it is entered, it is coming in. Profile picture is coming in. Modified date is coming in, right? Slug is coming in. Unique ID is coming in. Okay. This is all fine because these are structured data. But imagine if you have a bio, if you have like your experience details, like you ask them to give all the experiences in one big multi-line input box, right? So they keep adding like my first experience was working with this company for so many years, and I was responsible for this. My second experience was in this company. I worked there from this date to this date. My primary responsibility was this. You're not going to display that on the front end in the first load, right? That's a detailed thing, which probably when I click on this particular user, there will be a pop-up opening, there will be a separate page opening or something like that where you are going to add that, right? So why do you want to keep that in the primary data type, right? We could create a data type, something like user details, sorry, not search, but create, and link it to user, like linked user, and this will be user here. I'll go to user data type and create user detail field here, and I'll link it to user detail. So I'm making a two-way connection because we cannot have one user detail linked to multiple users, and we cannot have one user detail, one user linked to multiple details. It's just one-on-one, right? So I can go over here, and here I can say bio, which is a text field. Here I can say, let's say, career or career goal and aspiration. Now here, because it's text, okay, we will allow the users to put in all the text that they want, right? It could be one line, it could be 10 lines, it could be like hundreds of lines. I mean, if at all we allow them to write so much, right? But that's something that we are not going to load on the front end in this particular table. And these are not the fields that you're going to filter out, right? So ideally, all these details, which are not going to be loaded on the first load, I mean, on the page load, and something that is not used for filters generally, you move it to separate data type, right? Like user details. And the way you generally create these two records is when you go to register, right? Whenever the user registers, you sign the user up where the account is getting created, And the second step that we have to do is create a new thing. And it is user details that we are going to create. Set another field would be linked user equals to current user. Okay. So what we have done is we've created a user details and we have linked the user to that. The second step would be make changes to thing. And this will be current user. And here user details will be result of step 2. So you are doing a two-way connection here. All right. Firstly, sign the user up. We are creating a new user details. This is linked to current user. And then we are making change to current user, saying user details equal to result of step 2. This way, whenever the user is registering, we are also creating a user details record for them so that wherever they go and update, right? For example, if you have a bio section where they're going to update their bio, okay, this will get automatically linked. When we do this, I'll just load this and show you what happens, right? So we saw what are the details that we are getting here, right? I'm manually going to create some record, or let me just register. Let me log out. So for that, I'm going to go to feed page because that's where we have given the logout. I want to show you something, right? Click on this, then sign. I'll repeat, Manoj. I'll repeat. If I'm about out, if I'm not wrong, and then I'm going to register page. I'm going to register as a normal user now. Let's say it is test 19th Feb. Email can be support plus 19th Feb at with7.com. City, let's say Hubli. Change that mail. Generate some password. Click on register. Okay. So for this particular user, we have got one user details created, and you can see that this is linked to the user, right? This is linked to the user. I'll go to the user table. The new user has been created, and this has also got linked to user details table, user details record that we have added. Now I'll add some bio here. Let's say, I don't know, I'll copy from somewhere here. Not actually a bio, but I'll copy some post from here. I'm manually going to add it in the bio and the career as the thing here. I'll click on save. Okay. And now if I log in as admin onto the privacy exploration page, because admin has access to all the fields that we have in the user data table, I'm going to the last user which we just created, I'm going to inspect, and this particular user. So parent groups user, right? You closely observe that we have got the user details here, but what is getting loaded is basically the unique ID of that particular user. These details will not be loaded on the page. Okay, we are just getting a reference to that particular user, okay, onto the browser, and we can always refer to it like parent group users, user details. So if you go here, right, user details is a unique ID that we get, and that's what will be shown on the front end. It's not the entire data of that particular user details will be loaded on the page. No, it's just this unique ID. Using this unique ID, you will be able to show whatever details you want. Just to quickly show you like how that works, I'm going to add a pop-up. I'm not going to worry about the design and all of that. We've covered pop-up, right? Yeah. So I'm going to make this as user, and the user will be coming from here. I'll add a text over here, and this will be, let's say, parent group users, user details by. Okay, I'm just going to leave it that way, and I'll map it to this particular text. Add workflow. Whenever I'm clicking on the name of the user, then it has to open the pop-up. Okay, which will be the pop-up user, and I'm going to display the data in the pop-up. Okay, which is pop-up user. Data to display is parent groups user. Now, whenever I click on the name of the user, right, it opens a pop-up because this user does not have any bio, it's not showing. But if I go to this particular user, then it will show the bio. Only when the pop-up opens is when we are fetching the details from the server and displaying it over here. Okay. So only when you need that detail are you fetching the information from the server, thereby ensuring that the workload unit consumption is bare minimum, right? And you are consuming more data as and when needed. Like this is so many texts. Why would you want to get this details every time a page loads, right? For every user in the table. You getting it? Is it making sense, everyone? Are you following? Did you understand when you're talking about the data structure? How do you think about it? Right? You have to understand what are structured data, what is unstructured data, and generally unstructured data needs to be separate. Okay. In terms of project management, right? Project title, project start date, project end date, the team members, right? All of that can be in the project data table, wherein you will create a project details table where you can have your project description, right? The requirements of the project. Okay, if at all those are two separate things, you can also have all the attachments and all of that added over there, right? So in the table which is being displayed on the front end, you are just going to have project title, who is the customer, who when is the project starting, when is the project closing, who are the team members, what is the status of the project, and so on and so forth. Only when you open up that particular project will you display all the details of the project, like what is the description of the project, what are the attachments that has added into that particular project, and so on and so forth. Is this clear, everyone? Are you able to follow? Can you all type in some examples that you can think of, okay, where you can add the structured data in one table and unstructured data in another table? Give examples of that, please. Come on, come on, come on, come on. What are some of the examples that you can think of for structured data and unstructured data? What about for billing? Yeah, tell me. What will be the structured data in billing and what would be the unstructured data in billing? User details, project details. Yes, those are generally unstructured data. What else? What else? Come on. Reviews, right? You can just display the number of reviews and what is the overall star on the page load, but only when clicked you can show all the reviews. Reviews are is unstructured data because it could be one line, it could be two lines, it could be 10 lines, 20 lines, right? So that's a great example, Manoj. Thank you for sharing that. Anish says product details. Yes, product details, right? That could be multiple pages. Unstructured data is something that can be multiple lines, right? You do not know how many lines it can be. Like all the examples that you can see just above your comment, right? You do not have a structure to it. It can be like any number of lines, any number of characters, basically, and that's why it's called unstructured. Yeah, come on, others, give it a try. What are some examples of unstructured data that you can think of? Let's help each other understand the concepts well so that you'll be able to build better. Okay, because the idea is not for us to share the knowledge of how Bubble works, how to build apps on Bubble, right? Whenever you build apps on Bubble, it needs to be optimized, right? It has to work well. And because you have structured it well, okay, the workload unit consumption will be minimal, thereby ensuring that your monthly cost is on the minimum side. Just to give an example, we have built application where we have, like I think I've spoken about this before as well. We have built application where we have 18,000 users, or now probably it's even more, 20,000 users or so, and they are still in the base plan of $32 per month because we have optimized the app in such a way that it will not consume so much workload units, right? Coming to the examples, articles is a very good example of unstructured data, right? Blogs, articles, all of this are unstructured data because you do not know how long it can go, right? Images is not really unstructured data, but it is a file, right? Uh, so I would assume that Bubble would give you just the URL of the image, fetching it until and unless you are displaying it on the front end. Okay, so that's still fine. So for example, profile picture of a user can be added in user data table, or it can also be added in user details table. That's not a problem, right? Videos and audio files, same thing with images. On any social media, any link to other platform can be considered as an unstructured data. I hope I'm correct. No, so link is a text, right? And you know that, I mean, yeah, sometimes it can be like 100 characters or 200 characters, but it cannot be like 1,000 characters long or something. Yeah, again, and you can add it in the unstructured category as well. That's not a problem. One of the things that you have to keep in mind is anything that probably will not be used in filtering the data can be added in the user details table, right? You will not be using a link for filtering the users, so you can put it in user details table. If there is any links that you have added in projects, then that can be added in project details table, right? Because you are not going to use it. Name can be used for filtering, email can be used for filtering, date fields can be used for filtering, status fields can be used for filtering, right? You can use genders for filtering. So any data that is most likely to be used in filtering should ideally be in the base data type. Okay. Any data that is unlikely to be used in filtering can be sent to the details data table. Is that clear, everyone? Are we on track? Are you able to understand the details of privacy rules and how do we structure the data? I understand that we have taken a uh, very simple examples, but as we move further, you will get a hang of like why are we creating a data structure in this way and why not the other way and so on and so forth. Right? We will take a lot of examples because we have just got started. This is our sixth session, if I'm not wrong. Right? So we have a long way to go. Okay. Just understand the basic, and as and when you're building application, think of it like why am I putting this field in this particular data table? Why not the other table and so on and so forth. Yeah. So there could also be a question like I don't have any other unstructured data, but it is just the project details, right? Should I be creating a different data type for just one field? The answer is yes, right? Because if you create one more data table, it is not consuming anything else. Okay. But if you do not do that another data table, then every time the page loads, if you have a table which displays a list of projects, then you are going to get those project details loaded onto your page, which is consuming your workload units. And as and when you grow, right, as and when the app grows, you are consuming so much more workload units, thereby crossing the bracket of $32, which allows you 175K workload units. And then you have to pay $100 more to get what is a 75K workload units, or you have to take additional workload units, okay, which is not necessary if you had planned your data structuring well. Okay, is that clear, everyone? Let me just recap what we did so far, and then we will open up for Q&A. Okay. So we started with privacy rules. Okay. Before we began this session, all of this was publicly visible, right? And as I mentioned, I've seen senior developers doing this mistake. Like they create data types, okay, and they allow this to be publicly visible. Okay. And in some of the applications, like in medical field, in financial fields, right, in corporate world, making it publicly visible is a sin. You are exposing the sensitive information to the public, right? That should not be the case. Okay, you should apply privacy rules almost on every data type that you have, unless and until there are a few details that you want everybody to watch. Okay, for example, social media application, right? Even if I'm not logged in, maybe there'll be a few details that will be shown publicly. Let's go to, let's say, Quora. I'm not sure if Quora allows us, but I think it allows. Right? If you go to Quora, oh no, it doesn't. Okay. You can see that but I think we can see, yeah. So you can see here, I'm not logged in, right? But I can still see the question. I can still see the answer that a few people have given, right? So have they added any privacy rules here? Have they added privacy rules here? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Come on. Nope. Right? So let me try to open this particular OS. You can see that I can see the user's name, what to say, where has that person worked, where is the person from, how many content views, when did the person join, all of that without being logged in, right? So in Quora's this thing, it is not sensitive information. Yeah. So you can see that I can see all the information that this particular person, and we can also see what this person knows about, what is the spaces that he has joined, right? His profile image, all of that can be seen. Okay. So most of it on Quora is without privacy rules, which is probably fine, right? But if I go to LinkedIn, let's say for example, and if I log out, before that I should have copied some. Let me just copy the link of this particular post. There, log out. Okay, and if I open this particular post, it will give me, it will tell me login. But even if I'm not logged in, I can still see the post. I can see the comments, right? I can see who are the users who have commented, right? Let me try to open up the user details. Yeah, so I can see the user details. Of course, mutual connection, I will be able to see only if I'm logged in. Okay, because social media is meant for you to like read the data and then see if you want to use the platform or not, whether you want to connect with them or not, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So you understand the difference between these things, right? But if I go to, let's say, Amazon, also probably you will be able to see all the items without being logged in. Let's take an example of Gmail, right? If you'll not be able to see emails in Gmail if you're not logged in. Okay, and you will not be able to see my email IDs, and I'll not be able to see your not email IDs. Sorry, you will not be able to see my emails, and I'll not be able to see your emails. Right? When I log in, I'll be able to see only my emails, right? The emails that I have received, the emails that I've sent, and so on and so forth. And when you log in, you will be able to see your emails, the emails that you have sent, you have received, and so on. Okay, that's a very good example of privacy rules applied properly. Yeah, are we clear on that? Can we now go to understand examples of structured data and unstructured data? Okay, let's take the example of Quora. Okay, so this particular user, okay, the name, and I'm not sure what is this, but maybe this is profession, right? Number of followers, how many people following, all of this is structured or unstructured data. Structured or unstructured data, all of this small information that we have here. We can also consider the questions that are added here, right? Generally, questions are typically one-liner or sometimes two-liners. Okay, can be considered as structured. I'm not saying it necessarily have to be structured in the structured thing, but that can be in the primary data table of questions. Okay, but answers are generally long, okay, explanatory, and so on and so forth. Quora is probably not the right example to consider to understand about structured or unstructured data, but I hope you understand the concept of it. right? Let's go to LinkedIn to understand this better. Okay, the name, the company that the person is working in, or this particular short bio, right? Here you can see that it is restricted with number of characters. You cannot add like any length of bio in social media. Each of the social media app has some restrictions on the number of characters that you can use in terms of your bio. Okay, the city that you come from, right? The number of connections, all of this are structured data. About, for example, is unstructured data, right? Likewise, if you go back and if you see the every single post is unstructured data, right? It can be a single line thing, it can be a few lines, it can be multiple, like huge post as well, right? So that is to be considered as unstructured data, right? Every comment that we get in social media is unstructured data, right? So create different data types. Okay, one data type for the user. Any additional details that you want to save from user, that you can create a separate data table. You can create one data table for posts, one data table for comments, one data table for likes, right? And so on and so forth. So did you get clarity of how and when do we apply privacy rules, and how do we structure the data? Are we good on these two concepts? About in LinkedIn is unstructured. Yes, that's right. Are we good, everyone? Did you understand the concept? I hope I've given enough stress in both of these concepts, and we have we have considered a few examples, okay, which would have given you some kind of clarity of what this concept is, right? And as we move further, we can be exploring about more examples, and we can see all of this. But I hope the basics is already clear to all of you. Great. So with that, we come to the end of today's session, and we can start the Q&A. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat box and I'll answer them. And if you want to share your screen and ask any questions, we will be opening up the Zoom call. And for those of you who are wanting to share the screen, please join in the Zoom call. Uh, the Zoom call link will be shared in the chat box over here, and it's also shared in the WhatsApp group, I would assume. Okay, so just shared in the link. Please keep in mind that I'll not be unmuting myself on. Oh, just give me a minute. Yeah, I'll not be unmuting myself on Zoom because I want everybody who has joined on YouTube to be able to hear me. You can unmute, you can talk, and everybody on YouTube will also be able to hear you. They will also be able to see your screen. Okay. Yeah, just share the link in the chat. Most welcome, Debraj. Good to see you here. Thanks for joining in. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat box or join Zoom and you can share it from there. And I will be taking up those questions one by one. I hope you all enjoyed the session and it was valuable because I reached out to most of you. right? And I told that trust me, join the session, and it will be what I say, full of value. I hope I have delivered the promise, and we will keep doing it every session that we have planned, because we are doing this entire cohort to add a lot of value to each person who is joining in. Okay, because all of you have some or the other what say background where you say that okay, I want to learn to build on Bubble or learn to build web applications and so on and so forth, and we are trying our best to ensure that we deliver max value from whatever we have learned so far. So I hope we are able to keep up with the promise, keep up with your expectations, and we'll try and what to say enhance this to the next level. Please keep sharing your feedback with me, with the team, so that we'll understand how are things going on and how do we improve upon this. So yes, please put up your questions if you have any questions. And let me just check if somebody is joining. Oh yeah, we have Emilerin. I hope I am pronouncing your name correctly. If you have any questions, please unmute yourself and share your question. Thank you, Manoj, for your valuable feedback. It means a lot to us. It's great to hear something like this. Thank you. I'm just waiting for people to ask questions. It looks like there are no questions, which could mean two things, right? One, everything was clear, and you will start getting some questions as and when you explore it more. Or it could also mean that you have not understood anything, so there are no questions. I hope it's the first one, not the second one. Um, yeah, Heyman says it was a wonderful session. I have applied for privacy rules on my Eventia app, and the issue I was facing earlier got resolved. Great, right? This this says that you have understood the concept and you have been able to apply it correctly on your application, and this means a lot because we have been able to clarify something via our teaching. Thank you for that. It was crystal clear. Thank you, Manoj, for constantly supporting us. Means a lot. Thanks for the proactive approach, Aditya. Thank you, Aditya, for being supportive enough for us to be able to be proactive, right? Luckily, like we have reached out, like my team member has reached out to most of you. I've reached out to most of you, and we have not gotten any complaints that why are you personally messaging or whatever it is. And everybody has been kind enough to respond back as to what were their issues, why were they not able to join, and whatever it was. And we have tried to convince, right, most of them to join in because we are going to add a lot of value. And as a team, as a community, we'll be able to build it together faster and better. Great. So I don't see any questions coming up. Probably because you may have to practice, and that's when you will end up having questions and all of that. Uh, So we'll wait for 2 more minutes. If there are no questions, then we can wind up. We can all save about 30 odd minutes for ourselves. Let me quickly check what would be the next topic that we are going to cover. We just finished with our privacy rules and best practices. So the next topic that we have would be on 21st of Feb, which is this Friday. and that would be custom workflows and backend workflows, right? Again, a very important topic. If you want to build complex applications, then this is the session that you do not want to miss, because how many of you remember or recall that even when you are not active on your application, you still get email notifications or mobile notifications or something like that? How many of you recall that? You're not active on the application, but you still get email notification saying, let's say your meeting is on so and so time, please do not miss out, or something like that, right? So all of those workflows is running from the server side, right? And those in Bubble is called backend workflows, right? Even if you're not active on the platform, you can still run those workflows. And that's why it is very, very important, because you cannot be running the workflows only on the browser side, right? The workflows that we have seen so far is all running on the browser, right? When the user clicks on something, the workflow runs. When the user inputs something, the workflow runs. When the user like selects something, the workflow runs, right? But we want to be running something on the server side, something like a weekly report that gets generated, like how many users have registered every single week, okay, which the owner of the application can get to themselves on every Friday, 6 p.m. or like whatever is the timing, right? So all of this needs to be running on server side. And that's precisely what we are going to cover in the upcoming session. So please do not miss out, because again, it's one of the important topics, right? So all the topics that all the topics that are coming up will be equally important. So please make time for yourself, join the sessions, and it's equally important for all of you to practice, because without practice, you will not be able to understand what it is. And within a week or 10 days, you will forget whatever is being covered. Yeah. So I don't see any questions being added in the chat. Long run. Yes, Manoj. Thank you for pointing out that. And we will definitely be doing whatever possible from our side to ensure that each one of you learn, build, and grow alongside us. If we switch off the notification, we do not get, but all apps send notifications to the users. Yeah, I mean, that's the settings part, whether you want to, enable it or disable it. Yeah, Smita, please go on. Please ask your doubt. If you want to join on Zoom, that's also fine. Oh, I see that you have joined on Zoom. So yes, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Or if you want to share your screen, that is also fine.
Can I share my screen?
Yes, please go on.
Yeah, I have joined. Yeah.
I'm going to get the Zoom.
Yeah, I've unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
Yes. I can hear you. Please go on. Ask your question, Smita. Yeah, so for everyone else, Smita is sharing her screen and she's asking questions.
Can you see Ritesh?
Yes, please go on.
Yeah, I've shared my screen. Yeah, I think there is a delay. After I talk, I think there is so much time that you are able to. So here in the repost button, I'm not able to see the source. Like we will select the source, right? So here I'm not able to see the selection for source.
Okay.
And because of which I'm not able to
Can you let me take the control?
do the same thing for the focus group which we're adding for this repost button.
Okay, so everyone, the question is she's not able to get the data source in the repost reusable element that she has created. Okay, so we had seen this in the previous this thing. So I've just taken the control of her screen and I'm going to show you why it was not being shown, right? So if you go to repost button, okay, type of content was not added and that's why it didn't have any source. And if we go and add a post here, then we will be able to see the this thing and that should be in feed, right? So once we come back to repost, we have data source and this would be parent groups post. Do you have any other questions, Smita? Exactly. Sam had the answer to this. Great. And that's why please put up your question in the community. There are a lot of people who could help you then and there itself, right? And
Okay. Thank
yeah,
you.
it'll be much faster. Any other questions, Smita? Or anybody else?
And one more thing, Ritesh. So here, these tabs which are there. Yeah, here in the when I see this is the preview which I see. So here I'm getting the background as blue.
Yeah.
When I hover.
Okay. So the reason for that is, again, I hope all of you are able to hear her question. The question is when she hovers on any of these elements, it's coming as blue. And the reason for that is in the conditionals, right? We have a hover over here. We have still not covered styles, but because she's asking, I'm going to tell. We can go to edit style, right? And it will take us to styles for this particular style that we have selected for that particular element. If we go to conditionals, then you can see that the button is hovered and this button isn't clickable is no. Then the background color is this one. In our case, we want the background color to be what? Black or no? I mean, whatever you want, you can change it, right? So let's say background color is, sorry, background color is white and you want to change the font color to something, right? So any changes that you want to do for this particular style can be done over here. Okay. Now, you can also, what I say, go to the app link that we have shared in the group, right? So if we go to this particular thing and if we go to feed, you can also see what we have done, right? And replicate the same thing. So, so my network, right? And we had, if we go to edit style, if we go to conditions, then the background color has been this primary, which is basically the dark color. Okay. So let's see how that is being shown on our end. So you all have got the link to this particular application that we are building together. So you can go there and check this out, right? So when I hover, nothing is happening because probably I've removed that in my this button isn't clickable is no. Okay, so we have properly defined in the style field. So if we go here, conditions, isn't clickable is no. I don't know why they use such a complex statement. Isn't clickable is no, which is clickable, right? So this is the primary color. For some reason, it's not changing in our case. What have we done differently? You have definitely changed the styling over here. So one of the things until we cover styles, what you can do is you can click on this detached style, right? Once you do that, it is detached from the style, and in the conditions, you can see this separately, right? Oh, okay. For some reason, you can see that there is no color attached to it, and that's why it was not working. That's why it was not being shown. You can also do this, right? You can go to your styles. Okay, remove the condition from here. Like delete this, delete this. Okay, you can do that, and that will help you. I mean, until we cover the styles and you understand that. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Any other questions from your side or anybody else? Any questions? Feel free to ask. Mita, did I answer your question? Sam, not just in the recent update, Bubble has had pre-built styles from the very beginning.
Yeah, thank you, Ritesh.
That's that they have included a few more features which allows us to control it better. Right? Styles has been there from the very beginning, or at least for a very long time now. Most welcome, Smita. Thank you for asking those questions. It would have definitely helped a few more learners to learn something new. Okay, any other questions from anybody? If not, then we can wind up the session. Wait for a minute more and then we will wind up. Okay, then I see that there are no more questions. Thank you everyone for joining in on time and staying all the way till now. I understand that it's very crucial. It's very challenging when you want to spend 2 hours of your weekdays, right? That to three times a week to learn something new. And that commitment is very, very important. I really appreciate all of you showing that commitment and joining the sessions and staying until the end, asking the relevant questions and engaging with all of us when the session is happening. So thank you all and have a nice evening. Please join in on Friday because we are again going to cover something very, very important, and you will start enjoying building applications and the process of building. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Manoj Kumar had asked a question regarding salary range of a bubble developer. Oh, yeah, I'll quickly answer that. I think I missed that. Salary range of a bubble developer basically depends on how well you are able to manage building application, right? So it can, uh, so it depends, right? So intern can be getting somewhere around uh, 12 to 15K per month, and senior developers can be getting like, I mean, it all depends on how complex of application you can build, right? But for freelancers, there are freelancers who are charging $20 per hour to 100 $120 per hour, right? Of course, there are top 1% of the developers who can be charging like $200 per hour to s- something like that. But nominal cost is uh, from $20 per hour to uh, 70 $80 per hour, right? Uh, so you can imagine what is the scope that you have if you are looking for a freelancer or a job role, right? Um, if you can handle complex projects, then you can be expecting 50, 60, 70,000, 1 lakh, 1 lakh 20,000 per month as well, right? But it all depends on how complex projects can you handle alone without much of a support. So there is huge scope if you are able to manage all by yourself, right? Both for job and also for freelancing opportunities. Thank you, Sam, for bringing in that question. I really missed it. Anything else, anyone? Okay, then thank you, everyone. See you on Friday. I hope you enjoyed the session and you were able to gain value out of this. Have a nice evening. Take care. Bye.